Start recording. All right. So today is is sort of it wanted to be bigger than what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be a big day. Okay. In the sense, I last week we discussed about actually it was Monday or maybe it was last week. I don't remember, but we discussed about what's the next direction for Resonant OS. Uh, and then the idea was for me to give to clean up a little bit my version and give it to the tech team so they would carry on building and make it available for the community. In this process of cleaning up, I realized that there are so many things that needed to be cleaned up, and also the structure itself needed to change. So what I've done, I started almost from scratch and say, okay, let's rebuild this by in the right way. What is the right way for me? And this is where we can discuss. So we were building on top of OpenClaw. So the idea was to make Resonant OS the system that empower this OpenClaw to work in the correct way, in the way that we want. Build this AI that we can trust, and plus add the element of the community, add other functionality like advanced memories, or fixing basically OpenClaw on a lot of different aspects, and implementing new different tools for us to stay in control of this AI. So by working with this system that we've been doing now for I think around 3 months, we saw a lot of problem. Mainly the OpenClaw get updated every 2 3 days, sometimes even every day, and every time that they update, they break something, so create a sort of extremely unstable place for us to build. And also, I can see the OpenClaw is going towards a direction that might be not totally compatible with the what we want to achieve with the Resonant OS and with our community. So the idea here is to build something that is actually more disconnected by those agents that we can leverage. So it could be OpenClaw, can be Hermes, can be both of them. But maybe in 3 months' time, there is something amazing that's come out. Okay, and then we can put that one underneath. So the idea is to have a Resonant OS as a top layer that can control all those other agents. And those other agents can be turned on and off, can be removed. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's not at the moment you can Resonant OS cannot work without, for example, OpenClaw. Okay, it's totally connected. So if you remove OpenClaw, Resonant OS dies. Instead, what we should build is something that is stay there, no matter which agent we use. It stay there all the time. Then we want to add as a add-on, let's say, OpenClaw, we add OpenClaw. We add more than one. We can have as many as we want. Okay, we are not limiting the number of agents that we can have in under Resonant OS. So it's completely different kind of architecture. Instead of being in symbiosis with OpenClaw, now is a top layer disconnected by it. It keep working without it, but when you add OpenClaw, then you have a lot of functionality. When you add Hermes, you have other functionality. You can add codecs, you can add whatever, cloud code, whatever you want. You can add them within. So that is the how I'm starting building this. I'm gonna share the screen because I have something to show already, but it's not it's far to be finished. Okay, but it gives you a little bit of an idea, and therefore, in this new architecture means that we need to have our own AI. Okay, this in reality we are going to have more than one because we need at least two AIs. One is the one that we call it already have is called the setup agent. Okay, this setup agent is the one that manages the whole system, the technical side of Resonant OS. Okay, it's an agent that knows the architecture, knows what we are, the add-ons that we add, and is gonna help us configure all those agents. Greg, you arrived late. That is that is painful because I'm talking about the new Resonant OS, and now I need to start again because you need to know. You need to understand. I'm not gonna go into the details. Like I mean, I'm gonna be fast now. So Resonant OS is being redesigned because we are gonna disconnect by from OpenClaw. Okay, the idea is to be more independent by the AI agents that we are gonna use. Okay, so it's a top layer that can be added as an add-on whatever model. But therefore, Resonant OS must have its own agent. Okay, and at least at moment there are at least these two agents that we're going to build. One is the setup agent. Setup agent is this AI that is going to help configure whatever kind of add-on we want to add to this Resonant OS. We already have a principle of this within Resonant OS at the moment, but we need to rebuild it in a way that is disconnected from OpenClaw. So when you install Resonant OS, it's not going to be, first of all, a web app. It's going to be an app on your computer because it needs to be able to host other apps inside, like, for example, Obsidian. So Obsidian, instead of open as a separated app, can open within Resonant OS. And I have a kind of working prototype already. So I'm going to share the screen. Actually, let me prepare first the screen that I want to share. Where is it? Here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Yes, it's this one. Okay. So what I'm gonna share now, don't take it as the final thing, okay? I ask AI to build something so we can start working, and this is what I'm having. Okay. So the structure is gonna be in somehow similar to what we had before, which is the sidebar with all the different part. At the moment, ignore what is here, okay? It's gonna be more similar to what we had before. Then there is a center part, and then there is the chat that we can open and close. This is the chat with our main agent, where we can chat within this window, and this is completely disconnected by what's the name? The OpenClaw. Okay, this is something that run locally. I mean, locally. We can also run locally, but run within Resonant OS with whatever agent. At the moment, I'm using Minimax. Um, already works. Already can work with me, and that is it. But what I want to do inside the central part is something that can, for example, be. Let me open. Where is it? Yeah. Think about something that looks like this. Okay, so we have Obsidian in the middle. And then if we want to work with Obsidian, we can talk with our AI that knows about this software because it's open as a plugin. And we can say, okay, change this document, research this, whatever it is. Okay, so we can use it for in this way. Then we want to open another, for example, IDE. We can use the AI inside the IDE, of course, but there is always our augmentor that we can talk about. Okay, we can plan, do whatever we want to do because this augmentor, this main agent, is our strategist. Is the AI that actually is the single AI that we can trust. Then we can use OpenClaw in the middle. Can be whatever we want to. Okay, yeah, whatever add-on we want to have. So that is my direction. Also, there is another one that I don't know if I can open now. But anyway, we can have a lot of different add-ons. So to build those add-ons, we need an SDK. So at the moment, what I'm doing, I'm building a few of those add-ons. So we understand exactly how this SDK should work. Then I'm gonna create this SDK and release this SDK so each one of you can build their own add-on and work within Resonant OS. But also submit your add-on. So we as a community we can test it, and when it's stable, we say, okay, let's add it to the add-on page. Like I mean, it's not going to be like this one, but so you understand. Okay, you can uh, enable or disable add-ons, connect, and so on. So those add-ons, like everything is going to be an add-ons. Okay, even our awareness, the shield, OpenClaw, the logician, everything is going to be an add-on. So the user can decide if enable or disable. And if there is a problem, for example, with an add-on that is incompatible with whatever other, you can remove it. So that is how I think we should go in as a direction. So it's much more modular, more independent. Each part is more independent. We can, because we have an SDK of how to build those add-ons, then each one of us can do it. Okay, so now you can build your own add-on, even if you keep it for yourself. Okay, so there is a different direction. You keep it for yourself, and it's fine. Okay, you instead you want to share with the community, and then when you share with the community, it can be working two different way. It's free, open source, everybody can use it. Okay, or there is a subscription, for example, or you sell it for some token. My idea here is regarding this selling this product. We need to find a clever way to do it. In the sense, you need to have, for example, if you have contributed to the community enough, so you rank up, then you can also sell your add-on. Now there is one thing that I want to think together, because there is two elements that we can do. We can have sell it for token. That would be 100% in line with the DAO. Okay, but we could also say that your add-on has inside, we need to see if technically it's possible, but should be possible, for example, a Stripe payment. So people can actually pay you directly through installing that specific add-on, and in this way, you start creating value for yourself. Okay, because while the tokens still have value, but in a long term, then if you sell a subscription through an add-on, then the value is instant. Okay, it's now you can start making money now. That is something that we could think about. Of course, we need to, do it in the correct way that is in line with our community. But that could be an option to start building something that is maybe, or maybe you have already some software that you built and say, this is good, but it's now open source. I want to, capitalize on it. Good, you can, but in as a form of add-on, and in that way you join the community. You have already a marketplace, let's say, and so on. That's my thinking. Any comment on this?
I would initially disagree with using Stripe to be able to pay a person directly at this point. Like, if we were to go down that road to start with, then I think we would lose the capacity for the DAO to take off. I think it should be more along the lines of people can buy into the DAO and then they get tokens and then they use the tokens. And so it's always a tokenized payment, but people can buy the tokens as they need them.
Yeah, I'm just opening this as a point of discussion, because is for the long term, for the strength of the DAO, is better only use tokens all the time. Okay, it creates a much more stable reality. But as a community, we can decide something else. Okay, we can say, okay, we can use the token I don't know, maybe in a year time when we start properly. For example, now that we are in alpha, we are running on what's the name on test net of of the DAO, we can say, okay, we can have, I don't know, for example, Stripe as a payment. But then when we go live, we remove it. I'm just sharing ideas, okay? Because as a community, we can choose, we can make those choices. From the DAO point of view, token all the way, okay? For your personal point of view, maybe not.
So would it be up to someone to say, okay, I want this to work with Microsoft Excel, I want this to work with whatever insert program here, that you could effectively say whatever add-on program you want to be able to integrate this AI with, you would then put the program in, and then the AI can then interact with the program. It would be up to each of us, or each of once this is built, each person to say, I want to use it with my program. And so then that either have to ask someone to say, make it work with Google Docs, or make it work with Google Sheets, or whatever. And then that would then be a new add-on. So
Yeah,
effectively,
exactly. You
basically,
can,
every program in the world would become an add-on.
yeah, in theory, whenever it's possible, you could do this. You need to, of course, to build an add-on that is really uh, good to be able to work with some software. Okay, for example, I use a lot of music software. Those software are extremely advanced. Okay, it's just insane what they can do. So to create an add-on that actually is capable of using that kind of software is not easy. But if you do, you could. Okay, why not? Um the thing here is some add-ons are pretty simple, right? So ability to, I don't know, to connect with Google Drive, for example. Okay, it's not even an add-on. We can, I mean, that would be part of Resonant OS, let's say. So this kind of add-on that community can build, they should be, of course, free and open source, because otherwise someone else is gonna do it. Okay, so there's a lot of cats open going on here. There is no point of making something that is easy to replicate be something that people need to pay. But just to give an example, okay, uh, I can create a duplicate of my personal AI. Okay, so basically a virtual Manolo, just to say. Okay, so you can create a virtual Manolo as can be something else. Okay, you create a virtual AI agent. That AI agent has some specific knowledge, some specific protocol, some specific whatever, and then that one you say, okay, has a value. Okay, because it's not just the software, it's the knowledge behind, the reasoning behind, all those things. So that kind of thing, it could have a value for some people and say, okay, I'm gonna pay a subscription for it. But most of the thing that we should do at the beginning mainly should be part of the basic layer of the Resonant OS. Okay, so really some functionality that let me see, I was sharing earlier. What is it? Uh, like, I mean, the shield, the logician needs to be done. I created this software the other day that turns my audio recording into Think Aloud session, basically analyze the protocols, analyze those audio via protocol. That is going to be an add-on, okay? Our awareness also need to be turned into an add-on. And this is the R awareness, for example, is not simple to turn into an add-on in the sense at the moment that this add-on would work only with what's the name? OpenClaw. But let's say that you want to install again as an add-on also Hermes. Would our awareness work with Hermes? We need to change how it works. I have no idea. Maybe it's simple, maybe not. But in theory, it's not that complicated. But for example, this awareness can be, say, compatible with OpenClaw only. Um, but yeah, that is how I see. In this way, we free ourselves from waiting uh, for waiting, basically. The idea here is, okay, now you can build your own add-on and you can run it on your own machine. So it can be just for you, but also then submit to the community, and then the community, evaluate and add to the list of everybody's add-on.
Yeah, Sam, I think this is along the lines of the machinist um, agent you were talking about the other day.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that I've done that in theory works, in practice nobody knows. Okay, I need to test it. And Tom, the article that you also shared that is really going around now, this LLM wiki.
Yeah, yeah.
So I built it. So now it works as it's called the Living Archive, and is this advanced memory system that at the moment works with your main agent. So this is how I'm thinking about this architecture. Okay, so you have this main agent. This is the single AI that you can trust. This one has this access to this wiki living archive. Okay, which is connected to your Obsidian, of course, right? So here you have all your data, all your protocols, all your knowledge, everything. Okay, I don't know if you guys have been reading anything about this what's the name? I think I have it
LLM
here.
Wiki. Yeah.
LM Wiki. Uh, Designed by, doesn't say.
Andrei Karpathy.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what it does is a way to have your file actually keep updating. Okay, so it's when you insert a new knowledge, that new knowledge get mapped and tested against the older knowledge, and look for compatibility problems, alignment, and so on. And
Contradictions, which is very
contradiction,
important.
yes, exactly. And then you have also, because these things get processed in the moment that you add them, then the AI is much faster in working at the high level thinking. Okay, so it does a lot of work in the background. If you haven't yet checked this article, which I mean, just type. I mean, maybe someone let me find it. Okay, I'm gonna find
It's
it.
on our I think we
It's
posted
all
it
over
on
the YouTube.
It's also on. Yeah, it's also yeah. Tom shared in the in bloody hell today the naming on Discord. So if you're on Discord, Tom shared it. Hi, Brandon.
There's also one new concept of this auto research. I don't know if you met it with to give agent that improves itself one simple problem challenge with very strict KPIs. What is success?
You see
And then
those
which he
one.
just yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. So those one can be add-ons. Okay, so we turn that research. Okay, they did this amazing research. Beautiful. There is a lot of things actually that are amazing out there. But we turn them into add-ons. Then we put it inside our system. Then you can turn it on, test it, whatever. Okay, so the idea of customizing your own Resonant OS, that is the direction. Okay, that is the how we stay open and flexible in a world that it keeps changing, adapting, instead of stay locked to with one system that maybe is going the wrong direction for us. Bomir.
Sorry, but there is also one great thing. I don't know if you met Mem Palace from Mila Jovovich, which is actually brought it to these famous actors with some serious programmer that did it. But it's some interesting memory solution which is working like a human brain, like this easiest method how people can think. You imagine the palace, you imagine the rooms, and then you spread your stuff around this. So this is copy of some memory system which is also amazing as much as I heard. I didn't try it out, but I was just checking out through some videos, and everybody is having only good words, which is funny because Hollywood superstar brought it out.
Yeah, no, it's good. So exactly, those ideas we can decide if they are open source. We can decide to say, okay, let's turn this into an add-on and let's test it out. Then you test it, you say, ah, this is not bad. Let's give it to the community and then get tested and then added to the list. But like Tom was suggesting the other day, to have this AI that does like a doctor, okay, you check your health and whatever, uh, which is something that we all should have, right? An AI that we can trust, that we can talk about our health. Uh, so that one, if any one of us is interested in building it, then we can have it, built as an add-on. You can turn on, and now you have this agent. And Tom is developing a local model that actually can do this job. And those are all ideas that we can turn into an add-on, and then we have it. Okay, that is the process of making things much easier. Uh, the challenge will be how we manage so many add-ons, because I'm sure I'm gonna build a lot of them, and each one of us probably, it's writing code is not difficult anymore. So it's all about ideas. So the challenge would be how we, how do you say, curate the search for the right add-on and so on. Sorry, there is Brandon that is a new person. At least I don't remember you. Sorry, Brandon. So if you don't mind, could you introduce yourself so we get to know each other?
There it is. Sorry, guys. Don't use Zoom too much, so I'm just kind of learning how you guys are able to talk and everything. But my name is Brandon. I just recently joined you guys. I don't have a technical background per se, but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm 31 years old, so really trying to see how I can implement this technology within my communities and stuff like that, securely and safely, obviously.
Nice to have you in the in the community. You said
Nice to
in
meet
your
you.
community. What's your community?
Well, I'm from the United States. I'm a 9 to 5 worker myself. And as many know, economy's not the best in the United States currently. So essentially, I'm technically like savvy. My main background was Web3, so I'm a big crypto guy. I used to mine Ethereum. I had ASIC miners in my garage here at my parents' house. So I tinkered. I'm very like, like I can tinker with stuff like this, but I just really want to know how I can like implement this within my boss's business to give me essentially more value than just an employee and stuff, because I feel like this is what this is for essentially. So that's pretty
Yeah,
much it. Like I don't have too much like technical stuff like that a lot of you guys I'm sure can like can give, but I
it's
do have like I have a connection to general people, and I think that's an important part of bridging the AI to communities, is to have people like me be able to understand this and give it to my jobs or other businesses and stuff like that. So
totally. Thank you, Brandon. Really happy to have you here.
thank
And don't worry about being technical. I'm not. So, but nevertheless, I can build. So that is the what we can do now. Okay, we can have ideas and use AI to learn how to work with to build those ideas, and then we build them. So it's a process, and by staying within this community, I'm learning a lot, because there are people like you said that are more expert about coding and so on. So you start to even learn sometimes the right keywords, like the feature list. Okay, now when I talk with AI,
Yeah.
yeah, let's work on the feature list first. Okay, which is when I wanted to explain something like this with AI, I would spend an hour just to say, look, we need to write those things that do these things and things and things. Okay, so it would be really difficult. Now I have you learn those keywords, you learn how AI the coding system works, and then it becomes so much easier. And it's you've been building something, so it's not that complicated. And more you build, the better you get at it. So no worries. So looking forward to see your first add-on for this Resident OS.
Sounds
Uh,
good. Yeah.
anyway, anyone else wants to share something about what I explained?
Well, in general, I think we all realize that the landscape is moving quickly. So I think it's uh, prudent for us to have the architecture built so that we're not depending on, lower level execution layers. OpenClaw, is a good task execution layer, but it's not the only one, right? There's a lot of them. So we need to be able to integrate with those and work with those. And the framework for having add-ons and plugins, that's really the architecture that keeps us from getting boxed in. And building that first touch point, your trusted AI, your sovereign AI, and focusing on the mechanisms to keep your data local and keep your AI that you're interacting with harnessed properly so that it's producing good outputs. I think that's the primary objective. And then, as we grow and as we use these systems, we keep our data private, we keep it sovereign, and if a new model comes out or a new system comes out, like you said, we can absorb those in, and we can test those, and we can move on from them, right? But the core AI that you're using, the one that you're building that has your local data and is producing your work, that's yours, and that's what we're trying to focus on, is that foundational AI, because the rest of this is going to move, right? We know it's going to change because it's changing very quickly every day. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think I also think it's the right move. I was starting. I mean, this instability of OpenClaw is frustrating. Okay, it's massive frustration. I'm sure that they're gonna get better and better and better, but it doesn't feel like the AI that you can trust. Okay, it's something that it breaks every day basically. So it doesn't feel like that kind of AI. So and also, I mean, Hermes sounds like because maybe it's simpler. It sounds like also a really good direction. There's a lot of other things that are gonna come out. I think it's be more open means each one of us can explore more, experiment more, and feel less trapped
and
by.
also you're thinking about the elements of your AI system, right? What does that include? Well, for some people, that's just a chat interface. And for some people, you need it to be agentic, and you need it to and agentic's not a magic word. That just means it's running on a heartbeat. That's what OpenClaw gives you. So you're running things on a cron, right? And so it consistently is running a new thread and seeing, is there a task in my queue, and do I need to execute it? And so, that task execution, that agentic AI is one layer. So when we say we have an AI that we can trust, well, it's not necessarily just the the large language model that you're communicating with. It's the harness around it, right? It's the data location, it's the context management. So, when you say, well, when we say we're looking at an AI system, it's multiple pieces and multiple layers, and I think we're focused on the most important layer, which is the data layer, because eventually, and honestly, that's what the big AI companies are looking at as well, right? They know that the data, the personal information, your personal profile, and everything that you're building is the most valuable aspect of this, right? So we need to guard that and think about that.
Uh, yeah. So one thing about agentic AI. So one thing is like you said is idea of heartbeat and crons and so on. But the major difference is that they use tools. So a chatbot doesn't use tools. No, you become agentic the moment that you have a tool to interact with another software, with the operation system, with Google Drive, with email, and so on. So
Yeah,
that
all the
tool
tool registry. Yeah.
is the element they create this agentic. The on our system. So let me share again because when I see it, I think better. This one. So when I think about this AI, let me click here. So this is our augmenter. Okay, so our augmenter at the moment is already has already this living archive. Okay, this wiki LLM wiki system inside. But then where was it? On the add-on list. So of course it will have our awareness, okay, the logician and so on. So those elements can be added directly to the augmenter. So we can have those protocol that you remember the the logician part, the bloody hell today I can't find words. Anyway, so the I can't find the words. The logician, anyway, so can be added to the augmentor, and then we start building this AI that we can trust more and more because it will follow rules, okay, that we enforce in a deterministic way. Our awareness injecting our documents inside the chat, so the AI become totally aware about, for example, the business plan and so on. Now, the what I'm gonna do is to understand how good is this archive. Okay, that's why I'm installed, and I'm gonna test it and understand how. If, for example, I don't know, but maybe replace the R awareness. Maybe R awareness is not needed anymore because this system is so good that it gives all the information needed. Samuel.
Yeah, pretty much going off what you're saying now. So when we install a piece of software which would now be considered an add-on, they cover and do certain jobs. So OpenClaw, for example, handles like tool calling, agent cycling, cron heartbeat, all that sort of stuff. But if you don't want OpenClaw, but you still want those things, like I'm trying to work out like where the baseline is because I would want to have the system to have all the stuff that I've been getting out of OpenClaw, but also maybe I want to have a significantly different way. OpenClaw just isn't the product that I want to use. But I'm like, okay, well, does that mean that the base model I have to rebuild and work out how to make tools and calls? How, when you have something like Tandem, which wants to do tool cycling and agent cycling and stuff, that's going to cover and overlap a lot of the tools of another add-on, which is going to cover and overlap another tools of another add-on that you may potentially want to do, like Hermes or OpenClaw. How do you mesh them such that they're not all trying to do the same job at the same time and all trying to override each other? And like, because at some point you're going to have to say, well, you can have this, but you can't have that, but you can't have that all at the same time because they do the same jobs. But a lot of these tools do 10 jobs and you want one of that job and one of that job because they each do the thing specifically how you want them to be done. How do you pull all that together?
Yeah. We're going to have to pick and choose the feature list, what goes into the default installation. And as you said, there are some overlap, right? So obviously this is a companion piece, right, for our memory. So you have to consider, you don't want two systems doing the same thing, right? Lossless compression. We don't want two systems doing the same thing. So we have to decide what those are, pick and choose what's in the default. What you can do with systems that are going to be overlapping, we need to think about that. That's part of this discussion, right?
Yeah.
Because you're exactly right.
Can I share my point of view on this? So regarding this living archive, okay, the memory of the main memory basically of the augmentor, this living archive can be shared with other agents. But the idea here is that those other agents can read, but they can't write. Okay, because they could destroy your living archive because they don't have the philosophical level that your augmentor has. Okay, so they don't know how to interact with the archive itself. So they will be at the moment. This is how I build it. Okay, they can write in their specific folder. Okay, but they cannot inject. I think it's called. Sorry, I want to find the right words. Today is not the word of.
That was a good word.
But it's not inject. It's I know where it is. I think it's there is a dogman here. Anyway, let's say that is inject the correct word. That is gonna be inject inside the living archive. Okay, so for example, OpenClaw can read the reading living archive. Okay, so it has all the context, all the information to work with at high level, but it cannot write. It can write in a specific folder. Then the augmentor can read the specific folder and interpret the data that is being written there and then injected correctly within the living archive. Okay, in this way, we protect the living archive by having one AI that has the philosophical level to interact with it. Regarding this other AI, okay, so at the moment already I'm working with OpenClaw and Hermes at the same time. So OpenClaw is a multi-agent, so it has several agents inside, and Hermes is one single agent that can have a lot of different instances of the same agent. So two different philosophy, but I'm using both of them. The problem would be, and I also used, for example, Codex, Virtual Studio Code, Visual Studio Code, and Anti-Gravity together to work on same software. Okay, just for whatever random reason happened that I use more than one to work on this audio tool. It's possible as long as you work on specific part. But if they work on the same time on the same file, then of course it's just gonna be a total mess. So it is about you orchestrating this. Now you can have how I would do. For example, I would use. Let's say you want to use Codex to write the plan, then you have the plan, and then you delegate the plan, and then you give these to, for example, to OpenClaw, where you have the orchestrator, and say, okay, now delegate to the different agents to do work on the different parts. Same with the software that you mentioned, Tandem. Tandem can do this, right? So you give a plan, and then that Tandem is gonna divide and do the work. I don't think, I mean, it's doable. You need to have the mindset to understand what you're doing. But also another thing
I-
that by default, those add-on don't have total access to everything. Okay, so what's the name? What's going on today with the names? The the augmentor has the bigger picture. Okay, so you can always ask the augmentor to check the plan and then improve it to make it work within the architecture. Momir, you had your hands up. Yeah, still there.
Yeah, yeah. I just share some links which I was researching lately and these days, and it totally overlaps with everything with what you've been talking. So here in the chat you can find some. Maybe we can check because some topics are already opening. As you said, this wiki memory, it ingests. It is while it's ingested, there is this process of extracting the major data and then the augmenter can keep it and it improves itself. But when it comes to real concrete data, which are kind of more strict, like some dates, then there was a guy just talking about it. Then there another type of interface is needed, and because also agents need to write sometime. Okay, you said they are writing in some files, but okay, who's reading those files then, and in which moment and how big they become overall, how much they scale. So there might be some good hybrid modes where this wiki moment is. I think that's great idea that he keeps he's kept only for this main augmenter agents.
So let
Also there is
go
a
ahead.
medicine. You mentioned the medicine solution. There is one great solution. This II Inc. Intelligent Internet Incorporated. This first link, there is it's supposed to be some very simple model, very strong and very powerful regarding the medical, and it's all what I posted here is open source. There's also this P agent, which is kind of competition to OpenClaw and to no, not to OpenClaw. It's IDE, so it's a competition to Codex and to Claude Code, but also powerful and open source and very good. This Nate Jones is Open Brain, which is one great memory project. So I just pasted some things that pop up my mind while you're talking. I have a work which is very specific, so I always listen some YouTube and I inform myself a lot. So there is always some new stuff that pop
The
up.
link that you gave about
Links are in chat.
yeah, no, I'm
Here in
saying the
chat.
link that you gave about Nate B. John's project,
Yeah.
Open Brain, I think you call it. It's a give an error 404 for some reason.
I just opened it.
Hang on.
Uh,
The link was bad. It's okay. I got it.
one thing that I want to
I
first of all,
pasted the wrong link. I don't know how.
Yeah, the link was bad.
yeah, thank you, Tom. So okay, the word was intake first of all, and you just mentioned regarding the memory. Okay, each agent has their own memory. Okay, so it's not like this is the memory for everybody. This is the living archive for everybody. Okay, but each agent has a memory. They have their own memory. For OpenClaw has its own memory. It's not like they share the same memory. This is the archive, the living archive, where we share some specific level of memory, okay, some specific knowledge. But and what those agents should write in this allowed folder inside the living archive is like memory logs, extraction of the work done. Okay, so they should save there like. I've been working on this. We made this decision. We make those mistakes. We learn those things. Create this memory log, put in that folder, and then the augmentor will manage the living archive. Okay, the intake of that memory log, while each agent will have their own memory. Okay, because that's how they work. Because they've been working on things, so they need to remember what they've been doing. That are two different things here.
When they share in between, that would temper, then a tricky situation can
So
come
the
up.
living archive is shared in reading, so every agent can read this because here's the bigger view, the philosophy, the knowledge, everything is here. So they can take information from here. They can't write because to write you need to have a really high understanding of the philosophy of the project and so on. So not every agent has that kind of a level. Also, you need to use a powerful model to actually interact correctly with this living archive. But what they can write is this memory log just an extract of the work done, for example, over the day, over a project, and so on. Then the memory how they share to each other memory is through the memory log. So the memory log get placed inside the Livy archive. So now another agent can see what another agent was working on. But in case of multi-agent that need to work on the same project, the memory is not needed inside the Living archive. It's needed inside the orchestrator. So the orchestrator is the one that needs to have. It's like an orchestrator is like a manager. Okay, the manager should know what everybody is doing and then decide what to do next. Sam.
In the long run, when we're looking at all these add-ons, I was thinking about like, imagine this Resonant OS with no add-ons at all. What can it do? What can't it do? I'm imagining something like a setup agent, which then basically guides the user to say, what is your use case? What is your starting point? Right, you should grab that add-on. And the other question I had was associated with when someone makes an add-on, who, what, and how is it going to be authenticated or checked for problems, bugs, interactivity, security issues? Is that going to be a task of moderators to basically say, I've made an add-on, I want to send it to the community, but it needs to be checked and or reviewed?
Yeah, they'll have to be code reviewed. Yeah. Have to go through the code review process, testing, and then released.
So
But if you
in
can
some
use,
ways,
if you can
in
use
some ways, an add-on is actually only created by a person as an idea, and someone else is actually effectively going to codify it because they're going to have to review it to the nth degree to work with our program. And maybe they'll make a good one and it'll be interacting well, and maybe it'll be a hot mess and it's actually not going to interact with anything, and someone's going to have to fix it.
Yeah, this is not like the skills library for OpenClaw, right? It's not just a free market of whatever code you throw out there. So this is it's an integrated add-on, and I mean it's the right model. And I mean you could start with the base Resonant OS. So your question was, what do you get, right? So you get an AI that has localized memory context storage, right? That's key to start with. And then you're starting to build your local data store, communicating with your local system, and then you can add on, whatever additional pieces you need. If you're going to do coding, right? Maybe you need to install a piece like Tandem, or you need something that's going to help you with project development that has GitHub integration. You can install that, but some people may not need those pieces. Maybe all someone needs is just an agent that they can set up on a little schedule to do a couple of reports for them. So, thinking into the use cases, like, we're all dug in, so we're going to have crazy stuff going on in our OS, but not everyone's going to have the same system. So I think it's gonna be very personalized.
Can I share this idea? So exactly, it's going to be personalized, but there are going to be people inside the community. They're going to be like curators. Okay, some people like, for example, I don't know, any one of you can say, okay, for my use case scenario, this is what I'm using, and you're gonna sponsor that way of working. So other people can say, I want to work like you. Okay, I want this to be like my uh, personal assistant. Okay, so for the personal assistant, those are the add-ons that people have been using it. Okay, so we can rank them. We can, create a kind of community where they share their own custom version of Resonant OS. Regarding I forgot now. How that system of add-on can work. So of course we need to check everything. Okay, no scams or whatever virus code should get inside. How we do it is we leverage the community. Okay, so we have, for example, remember in the older version of Resonant OS, we had the tribes and the bounties. Okay, so bounties means I have an idea for an add-on, but I don't know how to make it. Is there anybody that wants to do it? That could be a bounty. Or I have this add-on that has been done, I need to be tested. Can I have, I'm willing to pay people in tokens to actually use it, give me data so I can improve, learn, test, and so on. Then doesn't mean because it's been tested by through a bounty that it's going to be added to the list. But once the process is done, then can be given to a selected team that look after the marketplace for those add-on. Okay, so it's going to be tested, approved by this selected team, and this selected team is going to be paid in token to do their job. So that is the how I see it. So the idea of building like a team and say, okay, let's build this add-on together. Okay, it's something that we can do for whatever reason, because maybe it's too complex, maybe we share the cost of tokens, whatever it is. But it's we can work as a community.
So there's going to be a way that you can install and put an add-on on your own system without any authentication or whatever, because you want to build and test your own add-on. You want to be able to send that add-on to someone else so that they can put it on their system, but we want to have a different level of systems such that not everyone in the community, it's like almost like putting it on the Play Store or something. You can't just shove it onto the Play Store, but you can share an SDK that everyone can put it on their system and test it personally and check it and build it together. A community hub can build it or whatever, and then they can say, right, now we've built this thing, we think it's half polished, we think it's fully polished, whatever, send it off for authentication.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
correct.
an approved add-on list will include, like you were mentioning earlier, like the overlap, right? We have to test for overlap. We have to make sure that we're not like installing two competing memory systems that are going to break each other. So we have to test the add-ons to make sure they're compatible with the OS interface and then also other add-ons. So
Or a warning that comes up and says, I see you've got this installed, you're trying to install that, they're not compatible. You can't do that. Or here is an explicit warning to say these things will break if you try this. You will have to fix this yourself, or you accept the liability that it will not work properly, and you'll have to understand how to fix it.
yeah, it's kind of like there's a Visual Studio extension plugin system. I don't know if you've seen it inside of Visual Studio, but they fixed, I mean, because we had this problem with plugins and extensions for, development. And so there's an extension mechanism and they manage that for us. And so yeah, it just makes it easier to uninstall and install, but that does need to be a managed aspect.
And exactly, but we need to remember one thing. We are building also this setup agent. Okay, this agent is the one that should have a clear idea of the architecture. Maybe can create a sandbox, test the plugin itself, see if it breaks anything, and then help the user to know if they use or not use the add-on. So we need to go into the direction of making an AI do this kind of work. Michelle.
Yes, I want to add about what you say, guys, about how to make sure like we can add the add-on without to break the system. Because actually, this is what I'm working on. I have a special agent who check everything, every project, every open source project, because I don't trust anybody. I'm very like paranoid, and for me, it's very important. Like Momir just mentioned, like Memory Palace from Mila Jovovich. Actually, I asked my agents to check only the repo, the GitHub repo, and he find like too many, like two security concern. And for me, like it's very important to, how to say, to make sure like we build something and anybody can build, but we have to make sure we don't promote something who can, hack people, who can destroy the system, the Resonant OS. So there's like so many open source projects right now. I just share a link. I just share a link on the chat, which is another one open source who claim he just fixed the share memory issue. But again, I check with my agent. My agent is trained on the best prompt injection hacker. So I don't know if you guys know Pliny. Pliny the Liberator. This guy is one of the best because he's working with Entropic. He's been hacking all model. Like he knows how to hack all model. So I trained my agent to study him actually. And the open source I just shared, the idea is great, but again, you find like security issues, and for me, it's like it's very concerning because I want to find a solution about memory. For me, memory is like most important for now. It's one of the most important aspect of AI, and it seems like no one has found the perfect tools. So that's why like, what you say, guys, about like how we had add-on, how we curate it, how we check, how we make sure the feature doesn't, you know, how to say, collapse and compromise each other. So it's the most important thing because we don't want to break our system because you've been working and now you just add something great and then just exploding. It's stupidity.
The I mean, regarding the memory problem, it's a weird one. Okay, first of all, it's uh, I mean, yeah, it's true. There is no a final solution. Even this one that I'm looking at, this LLM wiki, it adds some
Yeah,
automation that is really good, create other problems in the background. Okay, there is no a final solution at the moment, and on one side, it's no. I don't think it's possible even to build it right now because the problem in here is we are building a memory system for an AI that is incapable of reasoning in reality. Okay, so you need memory. I mean, you need reasoning. You need memory and reasoning in the same time. But we have a broken memory, an AI that doesn't really do proper reasoning. So everything is come out broken. That is the reality that we are at. Okay, we need to accept this broken system and and carry on and keep building and improving. So that's why through add-ons we can replace elements. So the even what's the name? This LLM, sorry, LLM wiki. I'm trying to build it as an add-on. Okay, even though it's the default add-on for the memory for the augmentor, but the idea here is it's gonna be something better soon. Okay, there's nothing we can do. That's how it is. It's gonna get better. It's gonna be different. It's gonna be something that we maybe the LLM model just come out with. They don't need that memory anymore. Who knows? Okay, that is the we need to live in this scenario and accept it. Regarding the Michelle, what you said about the security problem,
yeah,
vulnerability, it's in somehow there is two things. Okay, vulnerability is impossible to remove. Okay, so
I know.
yeah, impossible to remove vulnerability. On the other side, here is everything can be seen as a vulnerability. So we need to understand what's the threshold, where we need to what we can accept, what is fine for each one of us. Okay, you mentioned the hacker, okay, that can hack any model. Think there behind those models there are company that invest in billions to stop that. Okay, and they can't. So it's basically
Yeah,
impossible. It's basically impossible. So it's at one point it's impossible to find a zero thing. If you see zero, it's because you haven't dig enough, basically. Okay, and we saw now with these methods that find the bugs and vulnerability from 20 years old software that was supposed to be sorted. So that means they are all there. They're gonna be there. So in your case, understand what kind of vulnerability and what is your comfort zone. There's no perfection, and it's not
yeah,
gonna
of
be.
Then
course.
on which level?
No, go ahead, Momir. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, on which level? Because on maybe on level of augmenter and his memory, it's very important that's insecure. And then as you go down through hierarchy, some agents don't have so critical memory on the level of us doing our daily jobs that jeopardize anything about some time or work that you lost. And that's kind of a risk that we have to take, as Manolo said.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
I
go ahead,
think
Mike.
like you say, Momir is like sorry, Manolo. I agree. The risk zero doesn't exist, but at least we should find a way to isolate the danger. You know what I mean? To have less damage. So that's the way I think. Because every day there's a scam. Every day there's a thing. So just at least to find a way to be less damage and safely. But yeah, I agree with you. But try to find a way to, once you test something, to test it properly.
Yeah, totally. Sal.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Just even like I'm gathering what everyone is saying here. Um, I think it's a foregone conclusion that we're going to have, it's impossible to mitigate vulnerabilities. I mean, we can do our best, but it's just going to happen. So to create a community and like a piece of software, this engine around the concept that our real security doesn't come from like how big we can build our walls, but the community, like you said before, is kind of the answer. And so if there's some kind of a vetting process that we have about like how our trust levels and about like merit-based communities or you'd call them tribes, I think that this will mitigate it a lot. And so, like it's almost like I mentioned it on the chat. You have these games, people are like really loyal to these certain games, and then people build these add-ons, and some of them are just break your game. Like when you're trying to play and all of a sudden things all glitch out. Not that I would ever play video games, uh, especially not Skyrim for 2 years, losing half my life. Anyways, but you find out pretty quick when John Smith is the guy that builds this add-on. You know how it goes. Like you say, oh, he built it. So there's a certain amount of like loyalty towards somebody that is a good actor. So I don't know if like that's kind of part of it. Where part of it can come from, um, is that whole process. And I was also thinking about like you don't want to add so much friction on the front end that when somebody wants to become part of the community or they want to get involved, they're like, well, we have all these hoops for you to jump through before we're going to let you contribute. So that's a consideration. But really, if somebody becomes part of a tribe, let's say, hey, if you want to contribute, then all you have to do is like become part of a tribe or become part of a group. And perhaps if somebody is a bad actor in a group, the group wouldn't stand for it. They'd say, this guy came from our group and he did what? And I'm not saying if there's some bots or some like in and out people. I don't know how we would necessarily create a community that's, I mean, like tribes or like that's like the granular level I don't know about. But the other thing I was thinking about is like when you're creating character and an RPG character, then if you know that the terrain is rough and then you have to be like, you're going to just crank up your dexterity and your intelligence because you're not going to be fighting against the biggest, baddest enemy anyways. So sorry, that's how I was thinking today. I was thinking in terms of when you build something and you already know that the obstacles are so great, then you have to build it according to what those obstacles are going to be. And I think I basically heard you guys collectively expressing that, but I was just thinking like when you're putting these add-ons in, I think it's a very great idea to say, well, we're not just going to go with like the latest brand like OpenClaw, but people are building all kinds of stuff now. And so if you have this software, this engine that really is nimble enough that it's able to like not be so encumbered by like being like a monolith or like something that's not able to pivot, then it's just going to be a problem moving forward. So it's interesting. It's having that thought, and then you come out today with this. You're saying we're going to make it more nimble and be able to respond to what's happening in the market in the industry. So I think that's a great idea. I just threw all that spaghetti against the wall there to see what sticks. Sorry.
Thank you, so. Yeah, so just to say, we have other 15 minutes left for today's meeting. We're trying to finish in time. Is anybody else want to share something, whatever you want, or carry on talking about Resonant OS or whatever you want to share?
I wouldn't mind asking a question. I'm curious. Like my use case is I'm a programmer, right? And I am just coding, right? And so I don't mind the heavy technical stuff, but what is your current use case with your AI system, whatever state it's in? What is your current use case? What are you doing with it?
I got a lot of answers, but I'd rather wait for the community first.
I can start. But for me, I'm a designer, so for me, I don't mind to code, but to be honest, I will prefer to not coding, you know. So most of my use case is now right now I'm building like a web agency communication. So I have like a manager, a graphic designer, UI designer, UX designer, a developer, a business developer, and then right now I'm testing with one of my friends who wants to build a logo. So for me, it's like it's perfect because me, I know how to talk to the AI to get the best result, but my friends doesn't know at all how to talk with them. So I've been testing this request to make the logo. So right now, he just sent me like how he wants the logo to look like, the color, everything. And then I just first I sent to the end of design, the manager, which is going to analyze everything, what we need to do, how we need to process, what is the step, which agent's going to do the work. Maybe one agent's going only focus on the branding, branding. Another one is going to search more about the UX aspect of the website, the app, which the client wants. So for me, is really like I try to make like many assistants, so to do my job. This is my job, but to be honest, I can do all different aspects of the job, of the design process, but I wish to have like more, to be more efficient and more faster, to just have like how to say, to have a draft, to have a small draft. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least the AI will give me like a small idea to which direction we can take. So I just start like yesterday with my friends. My friends sent me this brief, and right now we just testing and see how it goes. And the thing is, the cool thing I did is I use Telegram with my agent. I make a group. Even soon as I have more result, I will invite my friends to the group so he can interact with me and all the AI agency. So why not? This is my kind of process I try. I'm not sure it's working, to be honest, but this is what I try to do right now.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Well, I can continue shortly. Mostly, I didn't start to use seriously those automation agents. I'm still on the level of very intensive use of Gemini Gem. As you were speaking before, Manolo in the latest video, I'm kept on this secure level, but I'm trying to reach some concrete industries or business cases which are kind of on the ground. So I have several different complexity of those single engines, which are kind of used like that. The most successful for the moment is this creative architect, which I made for my brother, and is actually has four agents below him: urbanist, uh, structuralist, interiorist, and graphic designer. And it came out that the architectural mind, which was came out amazingly. Maybe I was kind of really lucky here. Uh, he came out that does the product design. I'm doing some design of shoes lately. I'm paid for designing a fashion line, which was totally exciting. As I was before working in a marketing agency, so this is kind of come back. That's on the one side, and I believe I developed this Autor Alpha line, which I'm now starting with one big collective of creatives to ingest their own signatures, author signature, as I did from my brother. So I created some kind of methodology how to pick up the unique author signature of creative people and create those kind of very robust agents that has sub-agents under and have their own processes running. So they're very, as you Manolo was talking, they're very good and compliant, and I don't have any problems with most of the guys you mentioned that they go crazy, and my agent somehow listened to me very good. So this is one level. This is highest level outer alpha. I have more omega series, which is kind of more simpler. So it's one system prompt and one configuration file. So this alphas has five big configuration files. This is one rather simple. I made an agent that makes an ingestion. So one agent asks you a question, and in one moment he says, "Okay, I have enough data to actually compile the file." So it's a no touch experience, and I'm starting with that with big conference organizers. I actually give those agents for free just to try it out. With their when they buy a ticket, they get it for free. But this is a kind of launch for me. And this is this Omega series, which is, but it's a rather specific. So it always go to something which I call game B. So every professional with this Omega agent can reach from the level of selling hours to level of high-end paid expert professional. So it kind of pushes you out of your boundaries. So this is this Omega series. I have also agents for EU founding. This is what I've been doing for the last 3 years. I have a sequence how to actually build up the whole EU founding documentations, which is kind of hell. So this is my actually specialty, what I've been working lately. I have some writers, I have some forensics, I have some specific, but mostly individual agents, and I am in the search for an environment where they could get arms and legs, but I'm not kind of rushing because I love this friction, what you've been talking when I push myself and keep my brain working. And so I'm kind of cautious about putting this all to this automation scale, but I'm following it very intensively and trying out on simple cases, but not doing the main job. And I have also some PR clients, some consultant clients, which I brought them also these alpha versions of different kind. So this is it for me, what I've been doing.
Thank you, Mumir. Anyone else want to share?
I've been very similar to what Momir does. I've been researching a lot of material that I need for work and also to in one-to-ones with students where I'm helping them with their project, trying to coach them into using AI in an augmentative way. They come and they just want to use AI to finish to get everything sorted without doing any work. So I just try to help them. And I can see that when they create their agents and their tools, immediately they get involved in the subject in a different way, and they, without wanting to, they learn a lot. And also helping with some guidelines for Europe on the use of AI in an augmentative way for young people um, in their professional careers. I had a meeting yesterday about that. That went really well. Just in general, doing a lot of stuff like that. I'm going a little bit nuts, building lots of small stuff that I'm really enjoying and researching, because every time I do anything, then I find out about symmetry and that how affects group theory. And then I'm like, what is symmetry? What are we talking about? And I get lost in finding, into science about what symmetry is in physics, and really enjoying it a lot. So I could be like this for years and not move along a lot. That's me.
Thank you, Jim.
One of my recent successes, which like I finally got it. I got Discord two-way. I join a Discord voice channel, and the bot joins the Discord voice channel, and then we communicate two-way in a proper phone call manner. It's a 30-second turn. Every turn is 30-second turnaround, so it's really slow, but it works. So go to work. I'm able to talk to this thing backwards and forwards, and it can communicate with me, and I can use it to talk to other agents and tell them what to do, which is I'm really keen about. So I'm refining that. I'm bringing down the latency. I'm bringing up the intelligence, and so to speak, like the awareness of what it can do. I'm using Resident OS and OpenCore at the moment. So it's working very well. But my main question that I have now is, as one of the tech team, what am I doing this week? Because I'm not making an installer anymore. Not for this bit, because now the goalpost has shifted a bit. So what are we going to work on now?
Yeah, so sorry, Sam, about this. My hope, honestly, I mean, as you can see, the AI moves really fast. So and plus I work all day. It's not like I do anything else. So my hope is that in a few days we are gonna have this new version of Resident OS, and then as soon as I think, first of all, we need to test that part and make sure that works and so on. We can still use some of the things that the experience you're gaining from this setting up, because those elements can be inside the setup agent, and there is a lot of things that we can use anyway. But then at one point we're gonna have this SDK, so everybody can do add-ons. Okay, once we have this basic system, which is in some ways should be much simpler of the previous version. Therefore, we should be much easier to go live with it. Hopefully, that's my hope. And then each one of us can focus on their own add-ons and improvement. I mean, also Resonant OS can grow. Okay, that is the starting point. But I think that is what you can do. You just need to wait a few days. But I don't like to say wait. So start thinking about an add-on. Then you can always refactor for the correct SDK.
I'm definitely busy. I'm not idle. Definitely not. I'm still, as I said, I'm refining and doing that Discord stuff and many other things besides. I just wanted to make sure that if there was something I could be working on for Resident OS, that I'm focused on that as well. So yeah, no, I'm happy to wait.
So at the moment it's too early because it's still I'm still building. Honestly, I'm still checking, understanding what's the correct way to do it. But things are moving extremely fast. Now the interface looks broken, but this is not my priority. I just say AI, build this, boom, I did it. Okay. I'm care more about what is happening in the background. But yes, Dan, I don't know if you wanted to say something about how you use AI or not. But I just saw the moment that your camera turned on. Maybe you wanted to talk.
Well, yeah, I'm using AI like in a very experimental way. I'm trying to build my own private servant, or as you can say, um, the personal assistant, and well, I started back in what, 21 with the ChatGPT, and then I came up to GPT for all I saw, and I noticed, hey, that could be run locally. That is interesting. And so, yeah, as time progressed, things got better and better, and the models were interesting. And but only for like a year or so, I've had the somewhat of a decent hardware to run it. And yeah, it's progressing. It's fun to watch, and I'm constantly building on it. I started the project when OpenClaw came out, and I said, everybody was saying, no, it's so dangerous, you cannot make that. And then shortly after, the Hermes came out, and then also had some very good ideas. And I said, interesting. So I asked Claude, hey, here you have the Git repos of those projects. Can you check and build something decent out of that? And so it got all started. And so I have something of a Frankenstein's monster, maybe, as an AI. But the project is definitely interesting, uh, and it's interesting to see what's going on in the memory business, or the memory side of things, because it appears not to work for anyone still. There's a lot of new projects and ideas on how to build it. So yeah, it keeps me awake. We can say that. Uh, yeah, and so I even took it so far. So I got a course from the government now here in Germany to actually learn properly how to use the AI to optimize something. It will be definitely be interesting to hear from their side of view, or their point of view. Where does something like a government stand in this very, very dynamic and fast thing like AI? I mean, it's daily. There's the next news top model, all right? So, um, yeah. That'll be interesting. And here on this channel, because I was interested, I don't even remember why I came up with that, but it was interesting from the beginning, and then you started talking about the DAO and all that, and I said, it was interesting how to, make look more into the future, into the hopefully not so dystopian future.
Yes, totally. Hopefully not so dystopian. We are gonna build something better.
Yes, exactly.
Brandon, I don't know. You said you want to be next to talk or next to go to school?
Sir, um, so right now, currently, wait, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I have set up, I've been running OpenClaw for about like pretty much like a couple weeks after it came out. I'm using it currently with Hostinger on a VPN. Unfortunately, I don't have the money to get the hardware, not yet. I'm saving up for that right now. But I notice a lot of bottlenecks as far as I work for a wholesale seafood company. I don't know if you guys know, but seafood is a multi-billion-dollar industry alone. A lot of people like seafood. And my boss, he's a family friend, so I have contact with the main head of the company. So essentially, the way I think, I'm trying to see how myself, I run the market. He has a warehouse. He has all his seafood and stuff, and I run one of his 2 markets, and I'm the only employee there. So I'm technically doing like 3 people's jobs by myself manually, no AI, obviously. So my thing is, how can I essentially, as an employee, um, implement this into businesses? Because one thing is to be a business owner and want to implement, let's say the average AI agency or consultancy wants to go and implement this stuff into businesses, but there's a certain level of detachment of being an employee, like actually doing the things that you're the one that you're trying to replicate an AI to do, essentially. So that's kind of like what I want to do. And for me for that to make sense, I believe that to implement it successfully within his business, I need to essentially have his brain somehow be part of the AI system, because he is the head of his company. And then from there, kind of trickle down to every, management, people. I'm at the bottom, bottom of the barrel, So if I can somehow find a way, and I notice OpenClaw forgets a lot. It's very annoying until I found out about Obsidian from your videos, that I'm currently tinkering with and trying to fit it in. And as far as like the workflows, I haven't gotten that far yet, to be honest. I'm trying to get the architecture, like the system, like to make sense, like for me, and so I can pitch that to my boss so he can make sense of it. Because I noticed like he doesn't know anything about like technology and stuff. So if I initially start with that, like it kind of like he kind of zones out very quickly about it. So I'm just trying to find a way um to implement it like correctly. And that's just this case. I really want essentially then go to I have
Bardon, we are started to losing you. I think you moved in a in a place where we can't hear you anymore. I mean, you're gone now, totally.
there's smart people in Mexico and stuff like that, but their infrastructure is very old compared to other countries. It's from what I know, from what I've seen. And privacy of data is a huge thing for lawyers. And essentially, I see some people implementing like some sort of AI systems within these lawyers and these law firms and stuff like that, but they're using frontier models. And from my understanding is they're taking everything from the frontier models has access to all their information, And, if there's a way I can implement this stuff locally, private, and them have ownership of their own data, I think that's going to be like a very big thing, And I think that's what we're going to go.
Gone.
Person.
Brandon,
So,
sorry, Brandon. I think you're moving, and sometimes we are losing you. I don't know, man.
okay, can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah, we can hear you. But at one point, we lost you. I want to just tell about a couple of things about what you're doing as my suggestion. Okay, something to consider. So when at the moment it's really hard to trust AI inside a business. Okay, it's really risky.
Yes.
So what is the best thing to do is to make AI allow you as an individual to do one step forward. Okay, so just do a little bit more. So augment you one single step. So if you augment 2 steps, it means the second steps is too difficult for you to understand if AI is doing right or wrong. You see what I mean? So if you just do one step in front of you, you can still check, you can still understand what's going on. Most steps you go ahead with AI because AI could go many, many steps in front of you. Okay, but then becomes something like a gambling because you don't know, you have no way to understand if it works or not.
Yeah.
So if you do just one step, means you can do much, much more, but you stay in control. Okay, and therefore risk is 0. Okay, you do 2 steps, risk is a lot. Okay, it just you don't know. It just because you lose control, you don't know if it's right or wrong. You have no way to measure it. So just do a little bit more and be happy about that little bit more because it's a lot in reality. Another thing from like you said, it's you want to grab the ideas from for the manager, for the top level, okay, the owner of the company, because they have the vision and the mission really clear, and that is how they can move, okay, because they can see better than everybody else. So the difficulty is to grab that thing. If they did a really good job in reality, they set it up correctly inside the mission and vision of the company. So that element is there. The philosophy of their world, how they interpret reality, is being captured already. So you have a good part of it. Now you can say, you can give this to the AI and say, try to make it more clear. What kind of making me, for example, 10 questions that I can ask to this person, so we have, a deeper understanding, and there's no misunderstanding about those vision and mission. Then with that one, you don't need anybody else underneath, okay? Because everybody else underneath has no clear idea of what the boss has in mind.
Yeah.
So you don't want a noise. You just want the pure signal that comes from that person. The only risk here is, does that person have that signal? But from what you said, because if you recognize the importance of talk with that person, means that that person has it. Okay, so try to extract directly from that person, not from anybody else. Everybody else has noise. Okay, get the signal there, use that one directly with AI, and keep it simple. That's the key.
Yeah, makes sense. Appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we can close it here. Tomorrow we have another call, and it's gonna be more philosophical. So my idea is to talk about the video that I shared today. I don't know if you watched the video. If you haven't, please watch it. We are gonna cover some of those elements. Plus, brings idea. If you want to talk about something else as well.
Yeah, some of you have sent me some items and topics you want discussed. So just keep on sharing because that's great. And some of you say, I've got loads of things I'd like to discuss, but I don't want to share them ahead.
Surprise.
I don't want to have a meeting in order to have a meeting in order to have a meeting. But if you want to discuss anything so I can grab some ideas from you, it doesn't need to come from you. I can meet you, which happens a lot with all of you separately, and I have much better conversations, and just try to extract some topics we can use if you don't feel like presenting a topic. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Chimo. Yeah, all right. So thanks a lot. We can stop the recording. Stop the